drop the jab on us. So what I'm saying to you is that it's the same players all the way through. It's the same. It's actually the same players. No matter what game what card we turn over, it's the same people throughout that are playing the same game, and it's the same eugenesis. It's like, I'm not off the reservation. Trust me, I'm not off the reservation. Look, when they develop,
he is.
No.
We've been off the reservation for an hour.
I
was gonna ask this question.
Go.
What is the solution?
How long will we running? How long will we running?
More 55 minutes.
Really? Okay, let me keep quiet. Go on, you run.
So my question was going to be, what do you think the solution is now for Christians to help accommodate the black brothers and sisters in dealing with this topic, or anyone really in dealing with this topic? What is the solution going forward? What steps do you think must be taken in order to resolve this issue?
This issue is not going to be resolved in my eyes, because I worked at the press. I was selling to.
But mustn't we work?
I think it is going to be resolved.
Mustn't we work with hope?
Yeah, we should be optimistic. We shouldn't.
No. I'm saying this to you. Yeah, we have to play our part, but I don't think the situation is going to be resolved. You
Ellen White says racism will exist till Christ comes.
Yeah, because what is the casualties? Yeah, you're going to have, like, for instance, we have put nothing down as a church to help the demographic group who's bringing in the funds, the resources. We've taken their resources as what's happening around the world, and they've used it for what they want to use it for. So I'm saying to you, this problem, it's good to address it, because there's some people that you will help to see, you know what? Nah, man, they've just given me the slave Bible. I want the true word of God. So obviously we're dealing with it, but this problem is going to last.
But I guess my question was more about white supremacy, like the white imagery of Christ. What's the solution to that specifically? Let's try and. So what's the solution? The steps that should be taken.
Well, one of the first things I think, when I ripped up that image in a number of churches, and the shock on the faces of black people holding up an image of Jesus, this white Jesus, and I rip it. I said, who is this first? They say, Jesus, and I rip it up. Does this offend you? And they like that. How do you change that? What we've seen is this, that when you do a presentation at church, when your PowerPoint and everything, all the angels, the Jesus that's coming back to save the world, all of these images, they're all European, all the angels are European. What you need to do, you need to stop being lazy. You can get it online. You can go online and find more representative. Now that's patronising. I take that back. Not representative. More historically and demographically and biblically correct images of Jesus. And you need to have these in your presentation rather than just picking out any old picture from 1950s paintings. Here is a start, and I think also, and this is more also uncomfortable, I think, we need to look at our churches, because some of the churches are black and white in areas that don't even represent the local demographic. You've got churches, in other words, a church where there's lots of white folk, or lots of black folk. You might find a white church or a black church in the other place. Or what are you going to say when someone says to you, "Oh, I've checked you out, you Seventh-day Adventists, online, and your Northern European conferences is divided into black and white." The history of that. Lucian Bayard in 1944, taken out of a hospital in Washington to be put into, they look for an hospital for a black person because this is a white Adventist hospital.
Forget about that. Come back to our days where we live in 2019. It's happening now. So you don't even need to go to Lucy Bayard.
But why has that not been changed?
Because the organisation does not want it. Those who have the power do not want to change. As I said, I used to sell books. They made sure that the books had the imagery what they wanted in there. I worked at the press.
In the 1950s, those images of Jesus coming back and all these white angels. If that doesn't change, because the first thing, before we can actually even talk about it and say this needs to be changed, you've got to change the psychology. We've all acknowledged that we've had to even unlearn the images in our mind when we pray to God, and those images have been put there by all that we've seen, that we've grown up and seen in the books, in the films and everywhere. until that begins to change, while you're talking to people about this, but your pictures are still like that, it won't have any effect.
But do you think the original sin is making images of Christ in the first place? Because if you were to take this 2,000 years ago, you go into a synagogue, you go into a temple, you ain't going to see a single image of Moses, of Abraham, of nobody. You go even 1,000 years before that, when Moses and Aaron in the tent, in the temple, you don't see a single image of Adam, any of the people in the Bible. Where we have these imageries now is with Christianity, the iconography. You know, you have the paintings of the crucifixion, you have the paintings of the Last Supper. Christianity, the first sin with this imagery thing is making images. We did this. Muslims don't make images, Jews don't make images, but we do. And because we make images, we invite all of these other potential errors, like with the race issues and even with the inferiority complex. All of these things come from that original sin, making images.
God, you're so right. I think you've hit it on the head.
That's what we should do.
And God knew this, why He made it in the second commandment.
When you were just saying that a while ago, I say, yeah, 100%, man.
That's the first thing that, in my opinion, those are the steps.
Yeah, but what is, remember this here, it's the players, the merchantmen of Revelation 18, when you check them out, you go back through their families, it's the same families, it's the same families, gangster banks, the families, right, the same families going all the way back. When you Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the whole of these families, you go back, they're the ones, the same ones that control who would win the Battle of Waterloo. Who set the Red Cross as their intelligence center. So what I'm saying to you, these families have controlled the world and have greater control over the world now than ever before.
I think we got to do something different. We'll do about things we can do in our churches. You know, when they set out a church plant, at least get a few people from your church, some who's black, some who's white, so that when you're inviting people to come and do a study, come to your church, they see a multicultural position, church that's representative of community, so each group can feel comfortable. Let me tell you an awful thing that and I won't say where it was or anything, but I went to a church to preach one time, and this is must be about 15 years ago, and it was wonderful. It was all mixed like what I'm saying there, right?
It was a Jehovah's Witness church you went to. Tell the truth.
No, it was an Adventist, and it was beautiful. And I went back there about 5 years ago, and it was all black.
White flag.
Apart from one man who was married to a Jamaican woman, an elderly white man who'd been there before the black people came. And I thought, wow, what a change. And you know what one man said to me? This is the thing that needs to be addressed, and I will say it. He said to me that there's a brother there, an English brother there, who goes to church. He's a Seventh-day Adventist, but he goes to church on Sunday, because in the Sunday church they are all Caucasian. And he would rather do that as a Seventh-day Adventist Sabbath keeper. He would rather go to church on a Sunday than be with his brethren who are a different shade of melanin from him. Those things those are real. That's on the shop floor.
But my question is, right, because I don't see black people leaving a church if there's too many white people.
No, black people not like that.
We're not like that.
No.
It's them. They don't want us to be. And you know what I think it is as well. I think it's a power struggle. They don't want black people that are elders, that are making decisions, that are in charge. And to them, it's like, okay, and then they fall back, and then they.
No, you are right. What you're saying, you are 100% right. But it boils down to what you said. These merchantmen, these elite, have set this thing up so carefully, and it's all intertwined. The algorithms they've made run, they control the Facebook, they control everything. That's why I don't believe you're going to change things, because the church itself, the power in the church is North American division. They're the ones that are making the decisions. Yeah, like for instance, I'm not coming for reservation. We vote down women pastors. They say no, we're having it. The rest of the church says no, and they do what they want to do. We're not gonna have LGBT different these toilets or whatever. You know, the power struggle Hillary was over about the toilet. They said no, we're gonna have them. We're gonna baptize the alphabet people. So the power struggle, I'm saying, Satan has set himself up in the church already, yeah. And I personally know that all you can do is be like the Waldenses. The Waldenses, they knew what the problem was, man. But listen, when they met certain people, they knew, listen, I'll pass it over this. But some of them get caught, but I see it that way, that that you're not going to beat them. Either you join them, but you're not going to beat them, or you become a Waldense. And you have to be wise in the way that you're working, because even this discussion we're having now, yeah, if we was actually in a church, oh gosh, listen, they don't listen, they say, young man, we want to come in. Couple of elders just take you around the back and give you 2 beating around the back there.
I think
Really?
That's
over exaggeration.
No, don't get me wrong. There's certain, remember that island we went to? Remember the country we went to? If it was that country, I'm not even saying the country, yeah? They would take you around the back and give you a good hiding.
I'll never go back.
Especially if you said something against the pastor.
Well, he's saying about
It's over an hour, but just letting you know.
LGBT.
So why don't we cut this out and start again? Why don't we just cut it out? Because if we go over an hour, it'd be too long. We'll just go back into part 2. That's if it's up to you. Because
I don't mind.
let's cut this here, because there's no way that we can go over an hour.